Are you tired of playing in sweaty lobbies in Warzone?
Oh, hell no!
Do you wish that skill-based matchmaking just wasn't a thing? I'm sure you probably see Warzone streamers playing in total bot lobbies every single day, dropping 60, 70, and even 80 kill games just like it's nothing. The players in the lobbies clearly don't shoot back, and it just seems like nobody has a clue what they're doing. Yet whenever you and your friends try to play a game, it just turns out to be a total sweatfest. Well, I'm here to reveal the secrets behind how these streamers are playing in these bot lobbies and how you can too. In order for the rest of this video to make sense, let me first explain to you what SBMM is and how Activision use it to determine your lobbies. SBMM stands for skill-based matchmaking, which aims to match other players who are of a similar skill level, so lobbies are always balanced and fair. In theory, this basically means all the bad players are going to be playing against bad players, and all the good players are going to be playing against good players. Personally, I totally agree with this if it's in a ranked mode. I just think people should have the option about whether or not they want to play in these lobbies or they want to play in a sweat lobby. I don't think those people who are just loading up for a couple casual games with their friends should really have to be sweating this hard just to be able to compete. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Now that we understand SBMM, let's look at how Activision actually use SBMM in Warzone. Basically, Activision released this super long statement about a month or two ago and went into a lot of detail about each factor of matchmaking and how they use it to determine your lobbies. To save you reading the full article, here's some key points. Key point number one is that ping is almost always the primary factor in what lobby you'll get put in. So they say, but I personally don't believe this to be true. But nonetheless, to save time, let's move on to point number two, which is skill is determined based on players' overall performance, which means kills, deaths, wins, losses, mode selection, and even recent matches. So these are basically the main points that I want to talk about, but there's way more in the article. If you want to get a better understanding, I'll leave a link for it in the description down below and you can check it out for yourself. Now that we know how the matchmaking works, we know that good players should be getting matched with other good players. Yet clearly when you go watch some of these streamers, let's just say the lobbies they're in are not quite the same skill level as they are. Which brings me on to the next section, how to dodge skill-based matchmaking. Now there's three main ways to do it. Starting with method number one, we have TwoBoxing. This is not really ideal for most people, but let me give you a rundown on what this is. This method has been around for years. People have been doing this since way back in the day, and it recently has been a very hot topic of controversy among the Warzone content scene. It's for those people who have a spare console, or in some cases, some people who actually go out to buy a second console just purely to do this, which is crazy by the way. But they basically load up on this second console with a brand new account, or maybe even an account that's maybe like, let's say level 10 with about 5 kills and 100 deaths. Clearly a very, very bad beginner level player. They load up on this account and they queue for a game, and what they do is they join themselves on the main account so they get put in a beginner level lobby. Now the reason why this has been talked about a lot recently is because a Twitter thread came out recently about a streamer named Rex, which has been found out for doing this. This streamer dropped a 66 kill world record game, and here is the video that exposed him on Twitter.
Wait, chat. Make sure to hide the screen so I don't get stream sniped. How is capture in my game? Capture, bro. How is he in this lobby? I wonder if bro's on the secret method. Do I play ranked? Not really. Bazified? No, I don't. Oh, shoot.
Now I watched the gameplay that he uploaded of the 66 kill game, and let's just say you can definitely tell this lobby is not the same skill level as him. Now in that same thread, Nadia, who many of you may know in the Warzone space, openly admitted to doing this too. I mean, you got to appreciate the honesty. Doing it is one thing, but just fully admitting to doing it and, you know, not lying, you kind of got to tip that. Rex, on the other hand, was blatantly trying to hide this, saying he's hiding his screen from stream snipers in between queuing each game, and it's very clear that that's not what he was doing. But anyway, let's face it, TwoBoxing, this isn't really an ideal option for most people. If you have a spare console nearby, I'm sure this will work really well, but for most people, including me, this is just too much. Moving on to method number two, it is reverse boosting. Now, I'm sure at some point in your Call of Duty life, you have tried this before. Whether it's way back in the day of Modern Warfare 2, I'm sure you guys have done reverse boosting at some point. This is the classic strategy, going into a game, killing yourself over and over again to tank your KD in hopes that you're going to get put in an easier lobby next next time. The reality of this is that it just doesn't really work. Maybe it does for one game, but you've got to tank like 5 to 10 games before that just to get that one game. Then as soon as you get that one game and you do well, the matchmaking's just going to reset itself. It's very time consuming and it's just not an ideal solution. Which brings us on to number 3, which is use a VPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, it stands for Virtual Private Network. Basically hides your IP address to make it look like you're in a different location. But there's a special kind of VPN that you use for Warzone. What this will do is if you go to the network settings of Warzone, the network info, you'll see here you've got a geographical region. If you turn on a VPN, this region is going to change to something else depending on the server that you select. What this will do is it'll confuse the matchmaking process, dodge skill-based matchmaking, and it'll just put you in the next available lobby. So if I set my server to Kenya, that doesn't mean I'm going to go play on a Kenya server. You know, I'm pretty sure there isn't even servers in Kenya, which is why this actually works the way it does. It isn't going to make you play on high ping. You're still going to play on your own normal servers, the same exact server you'll connect to even if you don't have a VPN on. Like I said, it's just going to confuse the matchmaking. It's going to dodge the skill-based matchmaking side of the matchmaking, and it'll just put you in the next available lobby, regardless of the skill level. So of course, with that being said, it isn't exactly going to guarantee a bot lobby every single time, but it's definitely going to be way easier. If you play 10 games with a VPN and 10 games without, I guarantee you those 10 games with a VPN are going to be much easier. But now and again, you will get those insane lobbies where people just really don't shoot back, and those are the kind of games that you see these streamers getting these world records in. You know, sometimes you might have to play for a couple hours before you see a lobby like this. Sometimes you might load up and get it first time. Sometimes you might need to change server. There isn't really a guarantee, but one thing's for sure, it will make your lobbies easier. I've used VPNs since way back in Verdansk, and I can tell you for a 100% fact, they absolutely do work. But yeah, that brings me on to the sponsor of this video, which is LOBBYGOD VPN. LOBBYGOD is a VPN service that is designed to give you easier lobbies in Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone. I've been using LOBBYGOD for months, and some of the gameplay you see on my stream or even on my YouTube channel was actually got while using LOBBYGOD. Best part about LOBBYGOD is that it even works on console. They have very quick guides on how to set it up. It literally only takes a minute, and like I said, it works on all platforms, console, PC, all of them. As I said in the last section, this will trick the game into thinking that you're in a different location, but it won't actually put you on a different server. It'll just confuse the matchmaking process and put you in the next available lobby, and therefore dodging skill-based matchmaking. Still going to play on low ping, your lobbies are just going to be significantly easier. They give you many different servers to choose from, and just because you queue into a game with that server doesn't mean you're only going to get matched with other people using LOBBYGOD on that server. That's not really the way it works. You can get matched with people who aren't using a VPN while you're using one. Sometimes changing server can help to find a better lobby. You know, if you queue a few times and you find that your lobbies are just full of sweats and it's just not really working, by all means try and change server, see if a new location is going to work better for you. LOBBYGOD are currently offering a 3-day free trial with no credit card required to anyone who wants to give this a shot. Simply just visit the link in the description, sign up, enter the DNS settings that they provide into either your console or PC, and just like that, there's no more skill-based matchmaking. You may need to try a couple servers before it really clicks. Don't just queue for one game, see one good player and assume it doesn't work. It can take a couple of games, it can even sometimes take a couple of server changes before it really clicks. But like I said, I've been using this for months and I can say 100% this definitely works. So just one more point I want to cover before we close out this video. Can you get banned for using a VPN? The answer is no. Let's be honest here, pretty much every streamer you watch is either using a VPN or queuing with someone who has a VPN active. If they're posting regular content to try and get, you know, YouTube gameplays of high kill games, why would they not use a VPN? Why would you sit there for 10 to 12 hours a day hoping that just one time you're going to queue up and get a nice lobby where you could turn on a VPN, maybe play for an hour or two, and maybe land 2-3 bot lobbies in that time? It's going to speed up the process so much more. It's going to be a lot more fun, that's for sure, and it isn't against the rules, so why not? You know, like I said, people have been using these for years, and controversially speaking, people even used these to qualify for the World Series of Warzone last year. They did an open TKA qualifier where basically you just queue games into this playlist, and it adds up your kills and like placement for your best 10 games over like a 3-day period. And yeah, people used a VPN to qualify for that. And as much as I completely disagree with this, it just goes to show where Activision really stand, and no one at all got punished for using one. And I guess it is just acceptable, even in a kind of context like that. Apparently it's acceptable. So like I said, take of that of what you may. I don't really agree with doing it in a competitive setting, but it just goes to show that it's really not as frowned upon as you might think. Plus, if you take a look at the terms of service that Activision publish, it doesn't mention anywhere in there that VPNs are bannable or against the rules. The closest section is this right here, where it says spoofing, any attempt to hide, disguise, or obfuscate your identity or the identity of your hardware devices may result in a permanent suspension, which doesn't actually mean VPNs. It's about spoofing your hardware ID to avoid bans and stuff like that. It's not quite the same thing. So yeah, don't worry about getting banned or anything like that. And yeah, there we have it. So this is how how all these streamers are getting bot lobbies, and this is how you can too. Thank you to LobbyGod for sponsoring this video as always. And before we go, there's just one more final point I want to touch upon. You still have to be a good player to notice the difference when using a VPN. If you aren't good at the game, installing a VPN is not just going to magically make you good at the game. If you're under a 2KD and you aren't good enough to punish bad players when they make a mistake, playing in a bot lobby isn't going to make any difference. I think generally speaking, for those who are under a 2KD, you probably aren't good enough to punish bad players for being bad players. If you download this VPN, you try every single server for a few games each, and you really think it doesn't work, I hate to break it to you guys, but it's a massive skill issue. But I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and I shall catch you in the next one.